Welcome, everyone, to the podcast For All the Marbles in sponsorship and in partnership with Marbleism. This episode, I have the greatest pleasure of being able to interview Dana Johnston. Known Dana for several years now, and we'll talk a little bit about the background, the history, how we first met, and how we've been able to influence each other's lives, not only as human beings, as professionals, as entrepreneurs. And really, one of the reasons why I wanted to get Dana on the show is that she has written a book that has helped thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. The objective with Marbleism for all the marbles is to talk to people that go above and beyond, that do really cool things, and they dream big. They might need to start small, but they fight hard. They might lose some, but they're going to win more. These are real stories of people chasing it all and finding happiness, content, and fulfillment, especially by helping other people. Dana, welcome to the podcast. And I'm going to read more about you, but I want you to say at least hello.
Hello, Bart. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I will read just a little bit more about you. Best-selling author, award-winning partnership visionary, chief mental health role model, passionate 4-day week advocate, a lot of great meetings and events experience. But in particular, I wanted to get you onto this show to talk about writing a book, why you wrote a book, how it has helped you, how it continues to help so many other people. And we'll get to there just momentarily. But Dana, I was thinking about this. We met, how many years do you think it is now? You were looking at something there prior. How
I,
many
I
years?
think
What did
it's going on 6 years. Yeah.
on 6 years? And you were in the meeting and events world, still are in the meeting events world. And
hmm
I was, I think, a speaker at just one of the local conferences.
Yeah. I think it was a PCMA Capital Chapter event. hmm
Yeah. And it was just so great because you continued to reach out and I would respond and I would reach out and you would respond. So it's just been this lovely professional, personal type of engagement that we can help guide each other, help suggest, did you meet this person? Maybe I could introduce you to this person. And then just a couple of weeks ago, thanks to you and so many others, I was able to present at the PAR Rev Up Summit in Annapolis, Maryland. And a lot of that started with you. I think it all started with you, Dana, in your introduction. So thank you for all of that.
Yeah. You did great at the Rev Up Summit. I am very happy to have recommended you, and the team took it forward, and was glad to have you.
Yeah, it was a fun event for sure. But thank you again for recommending me. Okay, writing a book, Daylight and Darkness. Did you always knew you had a book inside of you? Were you a writer as a young child, in high school, in college?
Yeah.
Because yeah, tell us
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, I was always an avid reader. My mom was an avid reader. When I started writing papers for school, high school, college, it was clear that I had a gift for writing. And what happened here, I live with bipolar disorder, and at the onset of my illness in 2006, I was my my partner at the time, Tony, now husband, and I relocated to Tallahassee, Florida, to open a business, and I really just lost everything. I couldn't sleep at all, and ended up finding out I had this illness, and fought for 2 years to really come back to some normalcy.
Mm.
But during that, I knew that I had an incredible story to tell about everything that happened to me, how you can get so sick, you can't sleep, you can't even read, and you're not sure if you'll ever be well again. And then once I was well again and re-entered the workforce and built a career, I knew it was time to tell that story to encourage others on their path to wellness.
Yeah, and Dana, and I want to get into a little bit of, so the dream was it an internet cafe and
Yeah. Yeah.
gaming center.
Yeah.
Okay,
Tony
so
is
you were,
very
yeah,
big in IT. He's an IT consultant now, but his vision was to create a safe place for children to go to play on high-end gaming machines and consoles, if they couldn't afford to have those at home. So we ran that business for 2 years in the Tallahassee Mall.
yeah. Okay, and why did you choose Tallahassee?
Uh, he had some family there that he just liked it. We do not like the cold. We do not like the snow. So Florida
Hmm.
seemed like a great idea.
Okay. And also, it was a very nice reason to do something that would provide a safe environment. Was Tony always like that?
Yes, that's part of what attracted me to him.
Mhm. Yeah, just trying to be kind and create a unique and safe environment for kids to be able to enjoy gaming, right? And it's, even becoming more popular. All right, so here you have this great idea. You're like, okay, we're going to move to Tallahassee. We're going to start this business, and you run it for 2 years. The Was and I know in some of your stories that I've read, it's about you were excited, but yet you were tired, and you were exhausted, yet you were anxious. Uh, did those feelings lead to you not feeling well into a diagnosis, or is that the cause?
So the cause was I was home alone, and in the middle of the night, I was awoken by somebody trying to come into the front door, and he didn't live there, and he was trying to put his key in the hole, and I was terrified, and that was the impetus for the insomnia. Then I couldn't
Mhm.
sleep after that because I wanted to stay alert and make sure nobody was trying to get into my home. And it kind of snowballed from there. So I always wonder if that event had never happened, would I
Yeah.
have this diagnosis? And I think I would have this diagnosis. I think it would have just manifested at a different time in a different place.
Yeah, because I was just curious, is it something that is chemical? Is it
Oh, sure,
something? Yeah,
sure.
so it's because I was thinking about this, and I think I shared part of the story with you before. When I was 12 years old, undergoing nose surgery, I had an out
Hmm.
of body experience because I heard them say, "He's out. Let's get started." And I don't need to recap that story again. But as a result of that situation, then I was fearful of dying, fearful of losing control, afraid of going to sleep, afraid of surgeries. Like to this day, right? I just had a doctor's appointment this morning, and this woman is talking about I have a little bit of sleep apnea, and she's like, "Well, there's also surgeries that could help do this and do this with your throat and remove your tongue." And I'm like, I'm not. I'm going to avoid as many surgeries as I can. But it made me think: would something else have triggered my fear of dying, my fear of losing control, my fear of things? And so, are the doctors able to kind of assimilate or correlate that situation to then you not feeling great?
I don't think the doctors gave much credit to that. That happened in 2006, and I didn't become medically compliant with the medication until 2008.
Okay.
But now, so it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving in 2008 that I was discharged from the hospital, and I haven't been back since for that. So that's amazing. I always get really grateful at this time of year for my wellness.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I see that as a causation, but I'm not sure the medical community does.
No, okay. But the good news is you look amazing, you're doing amazing. Um, in After those episodes, did the medicine, did the doctors, um, how are they able to help? I guess is it in? I don't know, and I'm speaking. I'm fumbled for words. Is it cognitive behavioral therapy? Is it mainly medicinal? Is it what is it that helps, I guess? And then
Yeah.
I want to walk through, um, the positive impact that you have had as a result of something crummy.
Yeah. That's a great question. I think every patient is different, and what's going to work for one may not work for another. For me, I read a lot of books. I read every book I could get my hand on about people living a healthy life with bipolar disorder.
Mm.
That worked for me. I had, of course, therapy when I was inpatient. I spent 6 weeks in the hospital between 2006 and 2008, but I never sought therapy outside of that inpatient experience.
Mhm.
Um, I don't I think I would if I ever needed it for something acute,
Mhm.
but for me, the books did a much better job of helping me learn what to focus on and, how to make myself happy.
Yeah, incredible. And can you share some of the things of what you are able to focus in on now? And I had the habit of doing this. Um, there's so many things I want to ask, but I want to provide some context to it. Bear with me. Bear with me.
Okay.
There is a It's a website, I guess. It's called bark.com.
Mm,
And I signed up for it a while ago just to see how I could help people. and sometimes they're looking for a motivational speaker, and maybe there's a fit. But when I first signed up to it, I wanted to help people from a personal development, give them ideas and give them hope. And if this was right, kind of right during the pandemic. And Dana, what kind of surprised me was the number of people that were looking for reaching out through this tool for help.
Hmm.
It was everything from how to cope with a job loss, how to cope with the loss of a loved one because of COVID, how to deal with anxiety of taking care of 3 kids instead of 2 kids, just like so many different things. There were so many, like hundreds a day, just in our immediate area
Oh, wow.
that that were looking for help and looking for hope. I know your book has helped offer hope for a lot of different people, but I would like to learn from you and our listeners as well. You know, what were you able to focus in on to feel better? And then maybe advice for people that are being challenged with other things throughout their lives and mental health challenges. What would you suggest they focus in on? I know that was a
Yeah,
really long question. I'm going to
that
have to
was,
edit
but
all of this out, Dana.
it was thoughtful.
And just your
No,
answer. I'll keep it.
the the number one thing I think all of us need to focus on is our own health and wellness. Um, I think it's very hard to be happy if you don't feel well. And
Mm,
so I think if you take care of yourself,
yeah.
we know what it takes to take care of ourselves. You're going to come to happiness a little easier. I don't
Mm,
have children. That was a part of this disorder, was that the physicians recommended in 2008 that I not have a family. Um, so you just have to take care of yourself because it's impossible to do anything else if you are not in a great place.
hmm Yeah. And it was just, I think earlier today, listening to some radio program, and they were talking about people that were anxious and people that were depressed. And they said something along the lines of that if you are, and tell me if you have heard this before, that if you're anxious, you're naturally going to be depressed, or if you're depressed, you're naturally going to be anxious. And it's almost like not that both are going to happen at the same time, but you need to realize, like, if you feel anxiety because you are not balanced, you're probably going to be sad about it and you're probably going to be depressed. And so, what is the root cause? Is it the anxiety that causes depression? Is it situation? Like, who knows what it is? But I thought that was a different way of looking at it. Also, that
Yeah.
certain things are going to affect you. So I love what
And
you're saying.
and
Balance.
the
Yeah.
thing, guys, is every single one of us is going to have periods of anxiety. Maybe not every day, maybe not every week, maybe not every year, but we're going to have periods of depression. Maybe not every day, maybe not every week, maybe not every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's the human experience to be an emotional creature. And so I think what has practically helped me the most is probably meditation
Mm-hmm.
and learning to allow those emotions and work through them. I was anxious today. In the middle of my workday, I had a severe like anxiety bout, and for no reason, nothing wrong with work, nothing. I was maybe excited, nervous about this podcast recording, but um, it just comes and goes like clouds in the sky,
Yeah.
and if you look at it like that, that blue sky is always up there. Even in the night, the blue
Mm.
sky is up there. But those clouds come and go and obscure our view of the clear, peaceful feelings.
Wow. That's a really cool way of saying it. And does that relate to the name of your book?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I love everything that has to do with weather and daylight and darkness in my book. It all goes together so nicely. It was a brilliant thing to come together. But yeah, the name of my book is Shine Bright, and so that's about the sun coming out, that blue sky coming out, and the tagline "Shine bright, seeking daylight in the darkness." There is a lot of darkness in our lives, in our world, and it's our job to be well and to seek the light and to
Yes.
be light for others.
Okay. To be light for others. Things that I'm learning so far. Um, Understanding that we, as every listener, me, you, everyone that's listening, you need to make sure that you're focused on feeling good yourself. And I'm just thinking about what that is for me. It's sleeping well, it's eating well, it's exercising, it's doing right the sauna, it's traveling, it's helping people. There are certain things that I know that I can do in order to feel good. And sometimes I don't always do that.
Hmm.
Question for you. Have you become regimented? Have you become disciplined in doing everything that you can to feel good for you?
I am more disciplined at 46 years old than I was at 20 years old.
Mhm.
Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know that if I drink an alcoholic beverage, I'm not going to sleep well, and I know if I don't sleep well, I'm not going to be my best the next day.
Yeah.
But I had a pomegranate margarita that we made with some souvenir tequila for our wedding anniversary this weekend. Like I still did it.
Yeah.
I just suffered, and my body battery on these smartwatches suffered. So
Okay.
I am more disciplined, but I am not perfect.
Yeah. Okay. More disciplined, but not perfect. And you know how you're going to feel if you uh, choose to sway off of it. Just like if I eat too many cookies, I'm not going to feel great.
Hmm.
All right. If I don't exercise, I'm not going to feel great. At this point, you know what you need to do in order to feel your best.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know things that can shift my mood, like listening to my favorite playlist with my favorite songs is going to instantly shift my mood, and that is always a great tool for people because music, I think, universally connects so many of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. What other things would you suggest for our listeners if they are unhappy, if they're anxious, if they're having a bad day? And this is not medical advice. This is just, hey,
Yeah.
look, these are things that work for me. And besides music, what else comes to mind?
Yeah, we call this lived experience because I've lived it, and what has worked for me is just lived experience from another person's perspective.
Hmm.
Um, uh, journaling. Journaling is incredibly helpful for those anxious or nervous thoughts. Write all it down. What could go wrong? What could go right?
Hmm.
Um, get it all out. There are many people who speak more articulately about this than I do. Um, I already mentioned meditation. The exercise is hugely important because when we move our bodies, our endorphins and everything else, they move the stress through our bodies, and that
Yeah.
helps us feel better. So movement is hugely important. Plenty of water. I think it's an underestimated resource to be well hydrated.
Okay.
So I think people don't talk about it enough, but make sure you're drinking enough water. I like when I go to the bathroom, it's a nurse's habit to look back and see what the bowl looks
Oh,
like. It
funny.
should be almost clear. That's how
Yeah.
I know I'm well hydrated. Everybody
Yeah.
has a different standard, but I like my bowl to be pretty much clear.
Yeah. And why do you think if most of us know this, and in fact, there's a presentation that I did recently, not one that you heard, a different one called Trigger, Glimmer, and Awe. And it was essentially trigger things that happen to us. Glimmer is how we can find hope, but we need to be able to find hope and find that glimmer if we are balanced and if we're using our mind and our body. And so, from a mind perspective, I'm talking about clarity and conciseness and um, clear your mind and craft your own new story. So, I mean, reasonable, right? Stay positive with things. And then
Yeah.
from a body perspective, a physical perspective, I talk about FMR, fuel, move, and rest. And it's, when I share this in front of audiences, people are taking notes when I talk about fuel, move, and rest. And the fuel is eat things that are going to nourish you. Okay. Move means exercise, move, walk, get out of bed, stretch, just move. And then rest is, don't fall asleep looking at your phone right in your face. Um,
Hmm.
listen to some soft music, have the room be cool, put your phone to bed,
Right.
and get some good night's sleep. But Dana, the interesting thing is that people are like taking notes like they've never heard this before. A- And the question I have for you, because you interact with so many different people, what do you think prevents people from doing what they know they should do?
I think sometimes a lack of experience. If they've not lived with someone who has had good habits and
Hmm.
has seen them succeed,
Yes.
they don't know that it'll make a world of difference to them because they've never had a good example.
Yeah.
I was really lucky because my mom, when she was sick, she got migraines. She probably was undiagnosed bipolar, give or take, maybe. She suffered with depression and was medicated for it. But when she had a bad day and didn't feel good, she went to bed and lied down. My sister and I would cook dinner, or we would order pizza.
Hmm.
My dad was not, helpful in the kitchen. He was helpful lots of other ways around the house. He did the laundry, he did the dishes. Um, but, you know, if you don't feel well, go lie down. That's
Yeah.
like the basics.
Yes. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a rest. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It's okay. And I like what you said, Dana. You were referencing that maybe they've not had the experience before. Maybe, and I'll just share my 90-year-old mother, who you and I started talking about earlier. She's never had surgery. She's 90 years old. She's
Yeah.
never had surgery. And I've probably had 4, 5, or 6 already. She's never had surgery, and she doesn't take very good care of herself. She eats whatever she wants. She certainly is not fit from a weight perspective. It's hard for her to walk because she's heavier than she needs to be. So all of these different things. But she never experienced anything that gave her a setback. My father, on the other hand, he passed years ago, but he had a heart attack almost the same age that I did at 50, whatever, 50, 52. But he changed his lifestyle from there, just like I'm doing, right? You have that experience. It doesn't feel good. It's scary. You're like, look, I don't want to feel that way again. So my dad walked every single day for the next, 20, 30 years until he passed away. But that's really an interesting thing. If people don't have not experienced certain things, they might not be encouraged to change anything because they've not learned. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. They haven't seen it from 2 perspectives. They haven't seen it improve anyone's life, and they haven't seen it impact anyone's life negatively, so they feel like it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But but does it and should it?
Oh, I don't I I don't know. I if if I would have never had my experience from 2006 to 2008, I
Mm,
probably wouldn't be a mental health advocate today, even though
yeah.
my mother and my grandmother suffered with depression, because
Okay.
it didn't impact me until, a few decades ago.
Yeah. And then look at what you've been able to do, right? You're sharing your story, you're helping
Yeah,
people, and you don't want people to feel alone. That if
yeah.
you feel this way, hey, look.
And I also see that so many of the challenges,
Hmm.
that I faced, so many folks are facing in their day-to-day lives without a diagnosis. And maybe they
Hmm.
have one, maybe they don't, it doesn't matter. But that's why I'm the advocate for the 4-day work week, because
Yeah.
the pace that we are living in 2025 is different than the pace I was living in 1998 when I had my first job.
Hmm.
It's a very different pace professionally, and I don't think it's sustainable. So we need that 3-day weekend with full pay, full benefits,
Yeah.
but just to rest and recharge and catch up on our lives with our loved ones.
No, I agree. And how are people reacting to that? Are you getting other advocates?
I don't really, people love it, love the idea. They have no idea how to make it work. And that's
Hmm.
where there are consultants and groups, the 4-day week global movement.
Hmm.
They'll consult with leaders about how to make it successful at their organization.
Yeah.
So I don't pretend to have those answers, but I do know if somebody waved a magic wand and I was a CEO of an organization leading anywhere up to 200, 500 people tomorrow, I would
Mhm.
be calling those consultants and figuring out how to save my workforce.
Wow. And let's dig into that just a little bit deeper because I think that's a really special idea. In Europe, or are there other countries right now that have a 4-day work week? I don't know this.
There is a lot. I'm not an expert, and I've never been one to be able to shoot off statistics,
Yeah.
but there's double digits. I don't know if it's in the 20s or the 40s, but the
Mm.
last thing I read is it's several places are incorporating the 4-day work week.
Yeah. And for people like me that get stressed out, that work a lot, that try to figure things out, but still get stressed out, should I move to one of those countries? This is just friend to friend. Right? Wouldn't it be,
Oh,
is it nicer? Is it good for some people? Let's just think about that for a second. And I'm not advocating, well, whatever, it's not up to me.
I think when you look at the data about the happiest places in the world to live, they
Yeah.
are the countries that are focusing on this balance between what do you need to do as a human at home with your loved ones
Mhm.
versus the productivity we need for our economy. They're looking at balancing that better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think
And
if you have balance,
mhm.
it's going to be more enjoyable for everyone and more profitable is what the data shows.
Yeah. If people are well rested, if they're balanced, they're going to be more engaged. If they're more engaged, they're more productive. If they're happier, they're going to provide better service. If they're providing better service, the customers are going to spend more and they're going to come back and they're going to recommend. Therefore, your profits are going to go up. Therefore. Yet,
Mhm.
have there been, to your knowledge, and I know you're not an expert, this is two friends talking. Uh, are there companies in the US that are trying things like that? Have you heard? And
There
is it
are.
working?
There are. I don't wanna name drop, but, they'd probably get inundated with resumes and applications if I name drop, but there are companies in the US that are taking this. They've been doing it for years, 3, 5 years already. So, yes,
And
I
it's
have a list.
working.
That is my
And it
short list if I need to look for a
okay.
job. That is my short list of where to look.
And it's working.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
working.
working. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this also that since starting our own business, my wife and I, and speaking full time now for 7 years, I have never worked so much in my life, but I have never been more fulfilled and more happy.
Mhm.
So when I'm at one point, I'm saying, I'm prone to stress, I'm prone to, anxiety. Um, I don't feel like I'm overdoing it from a work side. So, like, I look forward to weekends because my wife and I are going to go to coffee shop, set up our computers, and we're going to share ideas for 3 hours. And
Yeah.
that is fun. And I guess if you're having fun at what you do, then you're probably balancing the stress element.
Yeah.
Does that? Yeah,
It's an interesting question. The people who love their work and love what they're doing, whether they're entrepreneurs or not, working for someone else that they believe in a mission,
yeah,
they run a real risk for overwork, and overwork has its own challenges, you know, with health and wellness.
yeah, for sure.
Um, some people work a lot because they don't have anyone in their personal lives. They don't have loved ones they want to spend time with, so they
Mhm.
devote their lives to their career. And I'm not saying one is better or worse than the other.
Yeah,
I think different strokes for different folks. Um, but I think for the average worker, that is not the case. The average worker does not love their job or their employer, and they would rather be with the people they love doing the things they love instead.
yes,
And
yes,
that balance of that 3-day weekend would be a good solution for them
yeah, yeah.
to
Think
help them
about that.
to be more focused when they're at work,
Yes.
and then you know be able to have their downtime to recover.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Our son came over last night, and we had he lives in Alexandria, so not too far from us. And we put in a request. We were like asked my wife to see if we could celebrate Thanksgiving early, and that's what we did. So we had an incredible Thanksgiving meal. And I said to my son last night, we're hanging out, got a new TV put up on the wall, and we're just hanging out, the three of us. And I said, oh man, I wish it was Saturday. I wish it was Saturday so I could have one more day just to like hang with you. But every day, I mean, yes, he has to work, I have to work, but we can probably align that a little differently. Like everyone's in a good mood today because in the United States, Thanksgiving, Thursday, and a lot of people are off on Friday. There's a lot of people in good moods because they know they're going to have a little bit more balance in spending time with family.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
Terrific.
Last couple questions, Dana. Thank you so much for just sharing your story with us. I want to ask you about writing the book.
Hmm.
I know that writing a book is not easy based on experience. What motivated you or propelled you to say, I want to do this?
I knew in the hospital the very first time I was hospitalized that this would be a story one day. So I've always wanted to write it down, mostly because I had never heard of anyone experiencing anything that I had experienced. I mean, I thought that the CIA was coming after me to kill me. I mean, it was insane what was going
Mhm,
on in my brain. And I
mhm,
really believed it. I couldn't walk outside in the darkness because I was afraid that something would get me. It was a very sad and scary time. So I knew that there was a story that needed to be told.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you knew that there was a story to be told, and then in order to help others heal, help you heal, or both?
Um, a lot of people think I wrote it to help myself heal, which I find interesting that they're thinking that. I really wrote it for that other 22-year-old girl who just had the rug pulled out from under her and needs to rebuild her life. I wrote it for the young woman who's facing a new bipolar diagnosis.
Mhm, mhm. And when you started writing, did it flow naturally for you?
It flowed very naturally. I worked with a book coach who helped me because for so many years I wanted to write it and I would have drafts and I never finished. But working with a book coach and having a weekly appointment to share what I had written and what my questions were with somebody who had been through the process with other authors was very helpful for me.
Okay. And best part about writing the book?
It's simply hearing from the readers and how it has opened their eyes or changed their lives. I wrote it specifically for that young girl with bipolar disorder,
Mhm.
but I'm hearing from people facing a lot of different challenges, and that the story of just overcoming adversity and
Yeah.
not giving up on yourself is so powerful. And so I think if you're looking for a great piece of inspiration for someone for a holiday gift,
Mhm.
shameless plug, it's a great book.
Yeah.
You
No,
can
it
read it in
is.
an hour. People read it in an hour on an
Yeah.
airplane.
Yeah, and, so, the book title is called Shine Bright, and you can find out more about the book, and I believe get copies of the book not only through Amazon, but can you get it off of your website, daylightanddarkness.com?
Yeah. Daylightanddarkness.com, and it's on Amazon. Shine Bright, Seeking Daylight in the Darkness.
Yeah, because it would have been very easy to, I don't wanna say easy, but it could have gone a different direction for you, Dana, and I'm so glad it didn't. You are strong, you are resilient. You're like, I'm going to read about this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to be open to talking to people. I'm going to seek professionals that can help me. The story that you write, essentially, it's a love. It's a romance with you and Tony. Of, hey, look, he's there to help you, but you also need to be true to his feelings. And so I like the conversations between both of you. You picked a great partner that is going to stick with you, but you also realized that you needed to improve not only for you but also for him and for the relationship, and that's special, right? So whenever I was going through some of the stories, it's like a love story to me, but it's a love story, but it's also a love story for you, Dana, to yourself, and I'm so glad,
Hmm.
right? That not only did you write it, but then you're talking about it, you're celebrating it. Amazon.com best-selling author. Very, very cool. So I'm very, very proud to know you, Dana. You have been a big fan and a big supporter. Thank you for being vulnerable, right? To talk about something that has affected your life, that you've experienced it, but now you get to teach others on, hey, look, you can do it. You can figure this out. I figured it out. Here's a
Yeah.
couple of ideas, and look at all the great stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
What
And you,
what a
you inch along, right? Every year you're just a little bit better, a little bit better. Don't expect a magic overnight transformation. Be
yeah,
kind to ourselves. That's the other advice. Just be kind to yourself as you heal and as you work to the next version of yourself that you want to be.
yeah. Terrific advice. Um, Dana, can I suggest people contact you and connect with
Yeah.
you on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm at shine@daylightanddarkness.com is my email. Please reach out if I can be helpful.
Yeah, and thank you. Right, thank you for being a supporter, a helper to other people in this world. And as we started the conversation before we hit record, what a lovely time to be grateful, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
A great time to be grateful. All right, Dana, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to all your listeners if it gets out in a timely fashion.
Yes, thank you. We're going to do our best. So
Yeah.
this is naturally where we would record, and thank you. Right, were you comfortable?
Yeah, very comfortable.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's not easy. One, to write a story like that. Two, it's not easy to talk about it. And then three, you're doing it to help people. And I noticed that, several times you were talking about, you want to help the 22-year-old girl.
Mhm.
Um, this is a horrible question.
I wanna help men too, but I'm not a man. So I think, like,
Yeah.
what do I
Okay.
have to offer a man?
Yeah. 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 Well, it's your perspective on anyone that might be suffering from, right, mental health challenges or bipolar disease.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh, yeah, but your experience, yes, okay, got it. Yeah. Anyway, so very, very cool, and say hello to Tony. I've never met him,
Mhm.
obviously, but, I really liked, like, some of the stories that I was reviewing. It's a love story. It's a love story to yourself and to each other, which is really so very special. All
Oh,
right,
thanks.
all right, my friend Dana Johnson, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. I'll see you at
Have
the
a blast.
Wegmans or something.
Yeah, probably, right? Probably. Yeah, and thanks for your flexibility just doing it this way. Just it's been a busy day. Instead of driving anywhere, I was like, hopefully you're okay. And this, from my perspective, was terrific. So thank you. You're the
Yeah.
best.
Thank you. Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate you, Bart.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, Dana. Thank
Bye-bye.
you again. Okay.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, even though you
Okay.
already
Bye.
had it.
Yeah, I did have it. And guess what? I had leftovers today, and I'll have more
So good.
leftovers in about an hour too. All
So good. So good. All right. Tell
right.
Terry
See you
hi.
later. Okay.
All
Thanks,
right.
Dana. Bye.
Bye.
And recording.